On January 17, 2026, in a dramatic overtime win over the Buffalo Bills, Broncos quarterback Bo Nix broke his right ankle late in the game. Injury reportedly happened on a designed run play that lost a couple of yards, and although Nix stayed in the game to throw a crucial pass and help set up a winning field goal, scans later showed a fractured bone. Coach Sean Payton confirmed that the injury will require surgery and that Nix will miss the rest of the Denver's playoff run. This was a very odd injury because when we look at when we believed it happened, there's no significant mechanism of injury, as well as there's no signs directly after the play happened that would distinguish that he fractured his ankle. So the key thing with these ankle fractures, it can be a contact or non-contact injury. So we do see after this play here, when he did kneel the ball and overtime, you see him kind of start to limp off a little bit as he is coming off the field. This is probably the best angle of when we do believe the injury did happen, when he did make this running play here. We see that as he's going towards that lateral side of the field, he puts an excessive amount of pressure through that right ankle as he's trying to juke the defender out. Here's the first instance of when it could have happened. We see a significant amount of eversion at the ankle here. It's going to put a lot of stress on that medial side of the bone, putting structures in a lot of stress like the medial malleolus, the posterior tibialis, as well as your deltoid ligaments. So as you play on the video, you see that the ankle is planted onto the turf here. That's probably an excessive amount of plantar flexion going through that ankle joint. And as you continue to play on, the ankle kind of swings outward, kind of oddly after the play. This obviously could be leading to that fractured moment. Here's just another angle of that, maybe that significant amount of plantar flexion. Once again, not the best view we have here, but you can see that right foot is in an excessive amount of plantar flexion at the end of this play here. So which structures could have really been fractured? So we're going to take it as they told us. So they said that it was a ankle fracture. So really there's only 3 bones that potentially could indicate an ankle fracture, or could be involved, I guess. First, we have our calcaneus seen right here. So with that significant amount of plantar flexion that we did see a little bit on that running play from Bo Nix, you do want to think about of a avulsion fracture. With the calcaneus involved, could be involving this Achilles tendon. This is when that tendon pulls a piece of that healed bone, the calcaneus, away due to an excessive amount of plantar flexion. Another bone we have to consider is the fibula here, or this lateral malleolus. This would require a significant amount of inversion to occur to cause some sort of fracture or injury. And it does not look like this would be a realistic diagnosis based off what we saw in the play. And then finally, we do have our medial malleolus, or our tibia fracture. And we also have a few of those medial structures that could have been stressed within that play, like our deltoid ligament seen here, as well as our posterior tibialis that runs more posteriorly and comes up towards the foot seen here. And due to that excessive amount of eversion we did see earlier on in this play here, there could be potentially an avulsion fracture of that medial malleolus due to that excessive amount of eversion force. So Bo is definitely scheduled for surgery almost immediately after the game, and this is such a huge turn of events due to the fact how the game ended and not really seeing much information based off of a fracture throughout the game. This guarantees that whatever fracture Bo Nix does sustain, it was very unstable and very unsafe for him to continue to play through it. Fortunately, it did most likely happen during this run play. That's what Sean Payton did confirm for us. And with this type of injury and a fracture, with surgical management, it could take about 4 to 6 months of rehab until he does return. So obviously making this playoff run end for Bo Nix, but could align with the Broncos training camp or early next season. Obviously wishing him a very speedy recovery. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions down below.